The Spanish Announce Table.
Episode 296, Tom, of the Spanish Announce Table. Ooh, man, we're a month away here from 300, huh? We still got to figure out what we're going to do, I guess.
Yeah, we do. That is going to be something we will need to figure out. But before we get there, I'm just going to have to navigate through my house. Currently, I'm making the Reconstruction era look like a walk in the park. I have jackhammers and shop vacs and dust and plywood and concrete and any other thing that's around my feet right now. So I'm trying to get through that. But then, yes, 300 is on the way.
God, 300 episodes. That's a lot of episodes. But more on that later. Plenty of time to get to that. This week, a bunch of stuff happened. Anything happened in your life, Tom, besides what you just mentioned there with all the...
Well, yeah, so what's going on, for those who may have not listened back to a couple weeks ago, is currently we are putting a sump pump in our stone basement, and with that, you have to dig a 2-foot trench around each side of the walls, and then you put the sump pump, and then the sump pump goes out of your house, and then goes down, all that fun stuff. It didn't have that initially, and in a stone basement, it takes a little bit more work than just, let me put the sump pump here, and there you go, bye-bye. So yeah, there's been jackhammering for the last 3 days. There's been guys in and out of the house just walking in. Yesterday morning, they got so comfortable here that I was waiting for them to arrive yesterday morning, watching television. I'm kind of into an episode because I'm still watching that show Billions. So I was watching a new episode to me on the TV, and I'm interested. They're getting to a big climax point, and a guy just walks in the house. And I jumped up and I reared back. He goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I guess I should have knocked." I was like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "Here's my card. I am so sorry. I saw my guys and I just thought we should get to work." And I was like, "Okay." I'm going to read your card now because I don't know who you are still. And so then I was like, okay, he was the foreman. We had some issue that he had to take a look at. But yeah, because his guys were there in the driveway. It makes sense, right? Like you see your guys, you've worked with them forever.
You probably don't know if you're necessarily there,
Right, yeah, and you just get to work. But man, I had my heart in my stomach there for a split second. But yeah, that's what we've been doing, is just going through this construction, making ourselves busy, going to coffee shops, obviously with our mask on and all that stuff. There's some seating outside that we take advantage of, and then just running errands, grabbing books from the library on the, to go, like curbside pickup stuff. But yeah, it's just been, construction 101, it feels like, in our household this week. What about you? What have you been up to?
I've been on the outside. So we got the mower back, and it was long overdue, right? Our good long-time listening friend Theo will love to hear that. And bought a new string trimmer, and I specifically called it a string trimmer because I know you would get really mad if I called it like a weed whacker. Yeah,
because that's just not what it does. It does not whack the weeds. It's a string that trims grass. That is why it says string trimmer.
I actually took that head off that has a string trimmer on it because I bought a brush cutter attachment, which is basically just some spinning blades, essentially, right? And it was out there going after some shit.
Man, I tell you what, we have been doing almost 300 episodes for you to know that one of my pet peeves is the term weed whacker. You know that we've got some good chemistry and some history when you know that your co-host hates a certain term that's not used in everyday language.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we had a big, in one of the earlier episodes, I think, in our earlier days, I think you got after me on that one. I was like, you know what? I think I defended myself on the show, but I was like, he's probably right.
Yeah.
It's a pretty childish thing to call it.
Yeah. It's something that, a second grader would say, hey, there's a weed whacker.
So again, I'm beginning to wonder, is that born out of like a Jell-O kind of a thing? Was that one of the original brands maybe, and everybody just kind of kept calling it that?
Ooh, I don't know. Yeah, maybe. But if you talk to any type of lawn and gardening, landscaping crew or any city employee that handles maintaining city parks, and you call it a weed whacker, at least from my experience, you'll get smacked in the mouth. But anyhow,
so we went commercial grade on that one, right? Because we were like, look, it was time to stop playing games out here on the ranch. And yeah, I mean, so we did a little research and we bought a Husqvarna, and got a, like I said, brush cutter head for it. I'm out there acting like I know what I'm doing.
God, listen to us, man. I tell you what, we should just start an HGTV spin-off show, right? Wrestling fans who take care of the houses, and then just weekly, just, I'm handling a stone basement, you're handling your acres of grass outside. That would be a fun show. And we do it in luchador mask.
We'll call it the Spanish Announce Work Table.
Yes, I like that. That's a good idea. Yes,
Yep.
Get that to me by EOB, Tim. I like that.
Okay. Yeah, so outside of us just being old, married folks, just living the American dream, I guess we should talk about some wrestling, huh? Isn't that what everybody's here for?
Yeah, let's get into it. So I guess let me start since we didn't really workshop this off air, so I'll just go first. The big news, and I don't know if it's actually been made official, but Mike Johnson of PW Insider reported it, and I maybe feel like she did post something, but I can't find it as of right now. And again, we don't fact check, so tweet the table if you found it. But it's been announced that Renee Young will be leaving WWE. Been with the company since 2012. Kind of, emerged as the best backstage interviewer, and now has these, 1,600 clones, it feels like, of her. As we mentioned plenty of times, especially early on in the podcast episode, she was as good of a backstage reporter as, Mean Gene Okerlund. But then from there, she kind of moved into, well, she didn't kind of, she did. She moved into the Raw announcing team. Then she was transitioned out of that, did Talking Smack, which was a home run. Then did WWE Backstage. That got canceled. And now it seems like maybe they don't have a spot for her, and she's taking her talents elsewhere. So what do you think about Renee Young leaving WWE?
I mean, I guess I'm not shocked, right? So many people, I don't know the last, person that you're like, that person's been there forever, when you're talking about a wrestler who stayed around and took a backstage role, So that's not super shocking. Plus her husband's pretty big focus on the main competition. And, that one doesn't shock me as much. And not that she's not a big part of what they do, but she just seems like less of a feature, if that makes sense anymore. Like less of a hey, look, we've got Renee Young, because they've got so many more people, and especially women, doing similar things that she does. Whereas she used to kind of be the only, or the clear cut, only good one. Even a male or female, she used to be one of the only good backstage reporters, period. And so that's going to be weird, right? That, one of the better ones they had doing it, but also she just felt very vanilla lately. There wasn't much to her. And I know they're not necessarily characters, but I don't know. Just it's not going to be anything I think that impacts anything.
As far as her leaving, maybe, right? Like I said, there was 1,600 clones of her now. Charlie Caruso. I feel like Charlie Caruso's kind of taken the Renee Young spot.
Yeah.
I think,
yeah, she gets more of the the people playing with her on camera and
right. And so maybe Renee Young took that as a slight, and we're gonna see her in AEW. She also has plenty of opportunities being reported from outside companies, not just in WWE, or not just in pro wrestling, right? Fox.
I think she was always discussed about being headhunted by other folks,
right. So I wouldn't be shocked if she just says, I'm tired of the grind of WWE versus AEW or just pro wrestling in general, and I'm going to go outside and maybe look at some golf opportunity or NFL opportunity or Major League Baseball, something like that, to see if she can, see where her talents would take her. If she does go to AEW, which I kind of feel is the no-brainer, oh, of course she'll do that. That's the kind of move I feel like that would be. I would hope she would reimagine herself and not just be backstage reporter, right? And it's I'm backstage with Darby Allin. Darby, you had this amazing match with Brian Cage. What did you blah, blah, right? I want her to maybe go with the, hey, I'm now the manager of Jon Moxley. Like, I walk to the ring and tell Jon Moxley to come into the ring. I'm the one that tames this wild beast, or, something like that.
I kind of want that to happen, because that would be cooler than we've ever seen. Like, because we all know that was never even necessarily shied away from on WWE. Like, let's see if now maybe she has no interest in doing that.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe for, you do pro wrestling long enough, especially 8 years does seem like a long time in an environment where each week you're either loved or you're hated, and that flip flops every single time you're on television, right? Maybe she's tired of that, and then that's where, like I said, she takes her talents and goes to the NBA or the Major League Soccer, something like that.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe she's in college football. Oh, they're not going to do that. They're going to do some of it, I guess.
Yeah, they're going to try to do some of it. That's
K-State's playing on the 12th.
Good luck to man.
Oh, man, it's going to be weird.
Can we just quickly talk about football? Just quickly. And I know we're a pro wrestling podcast, and some international listeners are going to tune us out because what the hell is football to them? It's soccer to us, right? Whatever. But American football. How unhealthy the linemen live just pre-pandemic, right? Look at Joe Thomas of the Cleveland Browns. Was a refrigerator of a man, retires, and within 6 months looks like a leading guy on a soap opera. And so you just know that how unhealthy the diets of waking up in the middle of the night. Joe Thomas even said that, would wake up in the middle of the night to have a meal to keep the calories in his body so he can maintain the weight.
Strahan looks like a lean, movie star physique, and he had to be a defensive lineman that was probably, like probably 3 times the size he is now.
Right. And so you just know that's common knowledge. And so for them, with a transferable disease that is, on par with almost anything.
Sumo wrestling.
Yeah. And this disease that's so transferable, it's happening, by the thousands each day. If one of these guys gets it, like, they are so effed. Like, and I'm not laughing because it's like I want anything bad to happen. I don't. It's just we're doing this for greed. We don't have to risk people's lives. Look, and I'm saying that as a Chiefs fan, right? Like, we just won the Super Bowl. We have the best roster in the NFL.
We'd win it again.
We would definitely at least get to the championship game before the Super Bowl, if not the Super Bowl, and then if not, win the Super Bowl.
Hey,
like, it's just.
Let me stop you right there, because I was going to wait to talk about this later, but I want the fans at home to know that if you use #TweetTheTable, you can get possibly a tweet read on the show. And we've got one from a guy I mentioned earlier that we haven't heard from in a while, and it's at Theo75.
All right, what's Theo have to say?
He says, at the awesome voice, at TMac_816. That's us. He says, in all caps, shut up already about the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl. Eat a satchel of Richards, both of you. #TweetTheTable. With a bunch of angry emoticons.
Oh, did he not catch on that the Chiefs won the Super Bowl?
I don't think he heard that the Chiefs won the Super Bowl.
Theo. Fun fact, the Kansas City Chiefs defeated the San Francisco 49ers at Super Bowl 54.
Who are in California, right?
In Miami, Florida. It happened on February 2nd, 2020. That was also Groundhog's Day. We won 31-20. Patrick Mahomes was named the Super Bowl MVP. The previous year, he was the NFL MVP.
The 49ers were up like what? I mean, they were up
20-10.
Yeah, they were up 20-10 with like 6 minutes left.
Yeah, and then the Chiefs came back. There's a very famous play, one of the greatest plays in Super Bowl history. It's called Wasp. It was on 3rd and 15.
And Patrick Mahomes called it.
Patrick Mahomes called it after Tyreek Hill had a catch, but then it was overturned. Then it took them back to 3rd and 15. Then he calls Wasp. He lands this amazing throw to Tyreek Hill that gets us the momentum. And then, like I said, we win 31-20 over the San Francisco 49ers. Even more fun fact, if you want to reverse that score and it's 20-31 Chiefs victory, 2031 is when Patrick Mahomes' contract ends with the Kansas City Chiefs as he signed an extension this past offseason. Isn't that great?
Like, it's so fun, man. And you know what else is fun is, like, the Chiefs, they brought everybody back and they signed the number 1 running back in the draft. So, like, it's going to happen again if there's football. But the Chiefs did win the Super Bowl.
They did win the Super Bowl. But again, they don't need to play. It's just for greed. Please just take a season off. You guys are not the players, but all the owners will still continue to make money. You'll be fine. Let the players not take all the risk while you sit in the press box and say, why don't they play harder, you assholes?
Yeah, well, it's like they're like baseball missed a season due to a strike and shit. Like you guys, like you can live without football for a year. Like we could all be fine. Although I don't know that a whole lot. I think a large number of people, and we're talking hundreds of millions, don't know how to like find alternate ways to entertain themselves than what they're used to. If that makes
Read a
sense.
book. Read a book. You know how many books there are?
Yeah. I mean, it sounds that simple, but like, you know what I mean? I do think that's why we get some of this like blowback, because these people are like, oh, they don't know even how to vocalize it that way, right? It's not like, well, what am I going to do? It's just like, no, don't fuck with my football. You know?
Well, and this is what I think they should do. And this, we can get back into pro wrestling with this tie-in. What I'm getting tired of is, so just completely transparent, I always side on the side of labor in any dispute. That's usually where I go, except for obviously in certain situations. But I think if you're going to make the NFL players play a football game because you want to make your profits, then you as the owner must stand in a Walmart that is crowded during the entire duration of that football game, right? Like, that's your risk. You stand in Walmart that has, you know, shoppers in and out, touching everything, coughing, probably not wearing masks because apparently, you know, fuck masks for whatever reason. And you stand in that Walmart right by the entrance and they play the football game. Now you guys both are at risk. And let's see if you still want the football games to happen. And again, you know who also should do that? And this is the tie-in back to pro wrestling. Vince McMahon, huh? You want to make your wrestlers go out there and wrestle for you and have all these multiple outbreaks, and Apollo Crews just disappears from television because of a neck injury. It wasn't COVID. Then you go stand on the beach right next to all the jack wagon spring breakers while they're going to do their, you know, SummerSlam this week. Do that.
Yeah, go to a frat party.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. If you're so, you know, we can make this happen safely
With no mask.
Right.
Go to a frat party with no mask.
Again, because in labor situations, especially in sports, they're taking all the risk, and then you're saying, especially in baseball, hey, let's take more money from you, you jackasses.
And a quick little, you know, as we carry on out of the subject, I don't know if you saw that like hundreds of Pac-12 college football players and hundreds of Big Ten football players have like grouped together with lawyers, and they're like making demands now, like unionized almost. So shit may change in college athletics, but more on that to follow, of course. So coincidentally, those are the two conferences that canceled their seasons, by the way. So
yeah, well, they have
go figure. They were up to a labor dispute, so go figure. They're just like, oh, you know what? Never mind. We're not going to be safe to do this.
Well, in the Pac-12 case, they have a diverse board making decisions, so it's not just old crusty white guys saying like, God damn it, make them fucking do it. Maybe they actually care about some people. Yeah, I don't know. Who knows?
Maybe, who
Anyhow,
knows? But back to the wrestling, where, you know, it's all love.
Thanks, Theo. Thanks, Theo, for telling us about the Chiefs.
Who won the Super Bowl? All right, so okay, so Renee Young's out, so we got that. But have you heard the latest WWE? What are we gonna call this, Tom? The newest WWE foray into an emerging technology or way of, you know, like they were one of the first to the widescreen, like HD, right? They were one of the first to pay-per-view. They were one of the first to cable. And now they bring us the Thunderdome. So let me just read, this is for the win. You know, USA Today's little fun little kind of like blog thing, I guess, right? USA Today Sports, FTW. WWE to debut new Thunderdome set at Amway Center, which includes virtual fans. The ongoing coronavirus pandemic forced WWE to shift its weekly programming and even tentpole events like WrestleMania into the WWE Performance Center in Orlando, Florida, where episodes of Raw and SmackDown have been filmed since March. Starting on Friday with SmackDown, WWE is relocating to the Amway Center for an ongoing residency at the venue, and shows will have a very different look. The new WWE Thunderdome will debut this week, complete with pyrotechnics, lasers, cutting-edge graphics, and drone cameras, according to the announcement. Fans will not will still not be able to attend WWE events in person, but a small number of fans can sign up for virtual seats. If you land a ticket, you'll appear during the show, similar to the way the NBA is handling virtual fans during its broadcasts. And there's been some photos out, and I mean, yeah, that's kind of exactly what it looks like. It looks like you're in some futuristic, like it's fans digitally there on some screens, but they've kind of set it to where it's like risers, right? And you'll see more. This is set to debut Friday night. We record this here Thursday night. Who knows if I'll race the clock and get this posted in time for you to hear that by Friday night, so you may already know what it looks like. But Tom, what are your thoughts on this? Beyond just that, wall of fans and stuff, like what is this? Drone cameras, lasers, cutting edge graphics. They're dressing up a turd here, right?
Well, yeah, look at Raw Underground. They only know how to do one thing. Like, they can't get gritty because they know how to be glossy. They can't get futuristic because they know how to be glossy. So it's just going to be, their take on a futuristic live event. Whereas, I know they don't want to mimic the competition, but AEW said, hey, we're going to go to an open air facility. And now they made news where tickets, I think, go on sale next week, and they're going to allow 10 to 15% capacity for their events because it's an open air. They know how to social distance. All of them will be tested as they come in, and they're going to actually have real fans. And I've watched the NBA bubble. I've seen these fans up there, and they've had some fun screenshots, right? I think one guy had a goat sit next to him while he watched the game. You've seen celebrities like Paul Pierce and Lil Wayne show up, and that's cute for a screenshot and an Instagram post. But while I'm watching the event, I don't care. I'm not going to hold my phone for 3 hours. Well, but I'm saying as a viewer, I'm not going to stop watching, let's say, The Miz versus Big E to say, I wonder who the third person in the sixth row is. What is that person doing? I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit. I want the noise. And it sounds like, from the NBA bubble, there's no noise. There's some piped in noise.
Yeah, they can't do the noise because we'd all be having to scream in our phones, and that's not the same thing.
Right. So the noise is what, for me,
baseball does the noise.
Yeah, and it's fine, right? But now they understand because that crusty old game, even though I love baseball, they've got the cadence down because they've had 60 years of the same product. But with wrestling, it's going to be changing and different. And I don't know. I'm not into it. AEW's putting real fans. I want to hear real reactions, right? They're going to pipe in the noise for, let's hypothetically say Roman Reigns returns, that it's all cheers. And obviously the first week it would be, but let's say we're in 2 months of doing this Thunderdome, we're going to start to boom again. And they're going to still have cheers.
The thing is, that's going to be a distraction. The thing about, I know they're trying to be oh, it'll look like real fans are there. No, it's not. It's going to look like a bunch of goddamn screen profiles are up there. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be different. It's going to be weird. And it's going to just be not right. And we're going to be I don't know if I can know. And we're going to spend too much time looking at the goofballs doing that. It's just like if we had... So there's goofballs in the crowd, and you will notice the goofballs when they're doing something weird and stupid. But now imagine if you framed everybody. It's just not going to work out right. And I think they're trying too hard to satisfy the wrong symptom of the problem, right? The problem was there's no fans. So AEW's all right, well, we can't bring all the fans, but can we get some of the fans?
Right. And can we do it at a safe and knowledgeable way, right? We're going to listen to the...
look, do I think fans should go? I would urge you not to. But hey, look, you know what I mean? Fuck, what am I going to say now? Clearly we've seen people don't give a fuck what I think. And so
yeah, now right. There's an assumed risk with anything that you're doing right now, right? The absolute best thing to do is in a perfect world, obviously would be to have your government pay for you to stay at home and then have everything hopefully delivered to you so you don't have to leave the house. Obviously, that's going to cause a little bit of stir crazy and some wackiness in your brain. So get out and do something, right? And again, there's going to be assumed risk when you go to the grocery store. There's going to be assumed risk when you go to the gas station. There's going to be assumed risk when, you go to the mall to get a prescription for your eyeglasses, whatever it is, right? So who's to say like, hey, my assumed risk is I stay at home for 23 hours a day, but this, 22 hours a day, but this 2 hours time slot, I'm going to go to AEW. Okay, right? They're going to test you there. You're hopefully going to clear. Then you're going to come in, wear a fucking mask. So I can't tell you not to do it. I kind of err on the side of what you said, where it's like, maybe not, right? Maybe you don't have to.
I don't have that itch yet, is all I know.
Right. And neither do I. But some people do, right? So some people, eat, breathe, and shit this stuff. And great. Thanks for listening. I hope it's you. Yeah, I just think that the AEW is going to do it, even though it's the more traditional route, not the headlines that the Thunderdome is. It's going to be a better viewing experience for me at home to have 10 to 15% of live fans than 100% of these digital, non-existent weirdo fans.
In classic WWE, they went with a dumb ass name that they thought was going to hit it like a home run because they're just out of touch. Like,
well, yeah, Thunderdome.
First of all, it's a dated reference. Two,
not to
it's
them.
not cool to call it. Do what?
It's not to them. Their references is from the 80s. Like, that's what we're getting.
So like, and then it's just not like, if you would have just called it anything else, anything new, nobody would have cared because like it's already a new thing, right? Like there's not, but now we're like, oh, because the thing is you're not mimicking anything about like, the actual fucking Thunder. I mean, I guess, but like, I don't know.
It's their reference because that's the last time that any of those decision makers watched a movie was when Arnold Schwarzenegger was making Thunderdome. Indeed.
I'm surprised. Like, did they have to fight any? Like, is there trademark laws that they had to fight?
Well, again, that movie's so old it may have passed, right? It may have lapsed. Whatever.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, this is not gonna. I don't know. I think this goes away as soon as they feel like they can get decent crowds. But if AEW can, because it's open air, huh?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And again, there's open air arenas you can go to.
So they booked at the Amway Center. You couldn't have booked. No, I think they decided this was the better route and didn't even look for open air venues because they were like, no, we're going to do the Thunderdome. We're going to bring fans in virtually. The fan. Here's why this fails eventually, because it's a novelty thing for somebody doing it, right? If I go on, I'm like, this is cool, and then I realize, okay, fuck, Raw's 3 hours long, or this pay-per-view is 3 hours long. Like, my virtual seat, I'm not going to stand here and hold my phone the whole fucking time, right? Even if I've got a stand, I'm used to fidgeting with my phone, no matter what the fuck I'm watching. The Super Bowl, Tom, where the Chiefs won, by the way.
Yeah, they did win.
And I was very intent on that. I was still like, sending you a message, checking my Facebook, like, it's just going to happen. So, like, people are going to be done with this. It's the same thing as the second screen experience. In 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time, 4 weeks' time, whatever, people are going to be like, this is fucking boring. And you're going to have less and less people, and this is going to go by the wayside. And that's going to be before they feel comfortable bringing everybody, or can bring people back into indoor to the size that they want to have a crowd. So I don't know where this goes to WWE. I think this is going to end up being very weird. They're going to have like not enough by the end, and they're going to be like, we're going to catch them repeating the same screen 3 or 4 times, a la like Xbox 360, where they had like 7 fans really, but they turned 7 into 70,000. Yeah, that's where I think this heads.
Or use past recordings for new shows, like, this recording was from SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Let's use it for Raw.
Just generic when somebody's not saying anything specific or doing anything weird, right? They just have them staring. Because how about that? When you're having the boring part of the match, the rest hold, are we going to have, like, I don't notice, like I said, I'm going to notice more 50 screens behind the wrestlers of people being bored than I am 15,000 people in the crowd, because that kind of blends together because they're moving. It's you know what I mean? But these are going to be stationary framed video feeds.
And if you think traditionally how wrestling's always been shot, the crowd is never lit to be seen the entire time, right? Like when the main event starts, you typically don't see the crowd; they're blacked out, and your focus is on the lights,
or red or
ring.
blue for
right.
the Raw, SmackDown, whatever it is.
Yeah, so we'll see. I'm not a fan, but you know what? I wasn't a fan of AEW before it started, and now I'm the biggest AEW homer you got. So my
maybe
mind
we
can
keep
be changed.
drone camera aspects out of this, but that's it.
Well, and you just think with Kevin Dunn's production style and all the zoom in and zoom outs, I'm probably going to get motion sickness.
Yeah, and cutting edge graphics scares me. These can be really cool, or these can be really overdone, just to be the point of like, look at what we can do. Zoom.
Yeah, the shots that we've seen online so far, the first thing I thought of is the fans are just way too bright. It's way too distracting. They're brighter and more featured than the wrestlers, and I'm supposed to be watching the wrestlers. So if they dim the screen on those fans, maybe it works a little bit better. But from the initial shots, I was like, that is just it looks like a bad Zoom call. Like I do not want to watch that.
Yeah, I don't know. But, all right, so the Table Nation out there is tired of listening to us talk about this Thunderdome, Tom. So,
would they like us to talk about the Chiefs winning Super Bowl 54?
I mean, who wouldn't like hearing people talk about that? Everybody loves that.
What did I used to really annoy the entire audience with when I was like, I forgot what it was, but I think it was Cataclysmic was like, shut the fuck up. No one thinks that's funny, but I did. Oh man, what was that? You know what I'm talking about?
I've
said so many things. Yeah, there's a half a dozen things for just top of mind. But anyhow, let's get into this weekend's festivities. So we've got a lot of wrestling that was a little bit delayed, and then others were scheduled for this weekend. So we've got AEW Dynamite taking place on Saturday because of Bubble Ball, as you call it, the NBA playoffs.
Bubble Ball.
Yeah, it preempted it on Wednesday night, so it pushed it to Saturday night. It will air as soon as the NBA playoff game is over, so let's hope they don't go into overtime. That's another thing to consider. Then you also have NXT XXX, so it seems like they might be doing some porn.
You can do some porn, NXT porn.
NXT porn. Hey, look, if you're gonna do a Thunderdome,
I've already seen NXT XXX.
Hey, so I think I saw their first ever NXT Women's Champion in a porn, right?
That's true.
And then you've got the party of the summer
with the Mad Hawks.
Yes, you did. And then you got the party of the summer with the Thunderdome SummerSlam. So let's start off with NXT porn, NXT 30. We've got some picks that we're going to do for you. I'm calling it NXT porn. It's XXX. I've always been told that's porn. I'm calling it NXT porn. I'm not calling it NXT 30.
Is Vin Diesel the host?
Oh, I forgot about that shitty movie.
Yeah. Didn't Ice Cube take over? Like, wasn't he the nice guy?
Probably. Oh, God, what a great reference. I totally forgot about that movie.
Vin Diesel hosts NXT porn.
Yes, I love it. All right, so let's get into a little NXT porn kind of overview, high-level overview. How excited are you for this event? We've got some Pat McAfee making his WWE debut. We have a Karrion Kross Keith Lee match. We got a ladder match for the North American Championship. What excites you about this event that we have going down on Saturday night?
I mean, the ladder match will probably be a really good match, right? Just because these folks are all like, Gargano always. I mean, if we say Gargano in a ladder match, you're like, all right, cool, fine, right? Cameron Grimes, we love as a character. Velveteen Dream looks like might be trying to sprinkle in some, you know what I mean? A little bit of a different kind of edge to his character, maybe. And then Bronson Reed and Damian Priest, right? Which are two up-and-comers, right? That we've kind of seen that there's some promise in these guys, right? Will they have all the pieces? Will they be able to plug it all together? Who knows? But I think that match is probably number one for me. Aside from maybe a 1A, 1B with the Cole McAfee match. And, we can kind of break these down individually. But
yeah, let's do that.
I'm excited mostly for that, right? Mostly for those two things to stick out. But let's break it down. I got the card pulled up in front of me. I don't know if you already did, but I beat you.
No, my internet connection, because of that thankful construction happening, is currently down, so I cannot connect to anything.
Gotcha. Well, I got it right here in front of me. I got NXT Takeover porn predictions. Let's start with Legado del Fantasma versus, I probably said that wrong, Breezango versus Lorcan and Birch for a number one contender match for the NXT Tag Team Championships. What do you think, man? I feel like I want to say the Legado del Fantasma, but it's easy for like a heel up and coming like new faction to lose a match like this, because then he can use that as fuel to be like, no, now we're serious, right? Nobody really blinks an eye, right? Doesn't really set them back much.
Yeah, I think that could be the route they're going, or it could be, hey, you know what really hit well with the women's division? Bayley and Sasha winning everything. So let's get this faction here to have the 205 Live and then the tag team championships. Maybe that's the route they go.
I just feel like I don't know. I mean, now again, it's a number one contender match. So if they're just not planning on taking the belts off of, it's the Imperium?
Imperium, yeah.
If they're not feeling like taking them off, well, then that changes, who I think would win. Like, then I'm going Breezango or something, But I'm gonna go with the Legado, right? I'm gonna go with the Phantasma here.
Yes.
I like that guy a lot, the Santos Escobar. Right?
Oh, yeah, and I like this faction a lot, too. I think them going up against Imperium in a faction versus faction, kind of like Imperium has taken out Undisputed Era. Undisputed Era kind of, doesn't necessarily break up, but they've moved on to doing singles things, so Imperium needs another group to battle against. I think that team would be a great, fun faction, right? Two factions beating up on each other. But I think they still want to build up Imperium to say, like, we've got tag champs and they're fucking cool and they're fucking awesome, and we still can't get their leader here because of travel restrictions. But when he does, he's going to really fuck some shit up. So let's tell you in the meantime how cool these guys are. And for that reason, I think Fandango gets Fashion Police gets the win in this match. Because I think Oney Larkin and what's the other asshole's name?
Danny Burch.
I think they're there just to take the pinfall, and I think it's going to be Fandango and Tyler Breeze getting the victory.
Yeah.
What's their name? What's their name?
Breezango.
So whatever happened to the Fashion Police? I thought that was going to be their name, because then they're handing out like fashion offenses.
Well, because I think what they've said now is that like when they're in the ring, they're serious, but on their way to the ring, they'll have a few fun things to do.
I think Fashion Police is a better name. Right, but I think Fashion Police is an easier name to remember and easier name to say.
Well, it is. It's way more marketable, right?
Right.
Now, here's the thing is I wouldn't have them be as goofy as they were. Like, I would have them be legitimately, like, actually fashionable and, like, smooth dudes, and then, like, make fun of other fucks and, you know what I mean? Like, hand out tickets when people actually look ridiculous.
Yeah, like Cameron Grimes.
Right. Like, I mean, just, but have them actually, like, instead of fucking showing up in alpaca fucking boots, right? Like they're over the top fucking Zoolanders, have them actually be fucking, you know what I mean? Some slick dudes.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, so anyhow, I've got them for the kickoff show. What's the next match we got going on?
NXT Women's Championship, Io Shirai defends against Dakota Kai, and I kind of feel like they're going to go with Dakota Kai here.
I don't know. Yeah, this one's hard because I don't know. I'm not that invested.
Maybe I just want them to go with Dakota Kai because I'm kind of bored.
Yeah, I think they're still going to go Io Shirai. I'm going the other side on this one just to be contrarian, but I also think they put all that work into Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair. I think they're not ready to move on quite yet, so I'm going to go Io Shirai.
Yeah, all right. All right, we got 3 matches here. Let's start with this NXT North American Championship, right? The ladder match. Who do you think's legit pulling this down? We got the thick boy Bronson Reed. We got Damian Priest, former name, was a friend of the show, but Johnny Gargano, Cameron Grimes, and Velveteen Dream. This is a tough one for me too because any one of these guys would be fine. I don't think it's Gargano because he's been there, done that, right? And maybe not Dream for the same reason, but... Well,
I think Dream, pulling back the curtain, I think Dream for other reasons is not going to get a title shot coming off of a 2-month layoff. Right. Johnny Gargano would make sense because he's trying to do the power couple with his wife. So to be a power couple, you have to have some type of gold, and I don't think she's going to win anything. So maybe this is his opportunity. And then he could say, like, I'm the only 2-time, yada, 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 North American champion, and say all that fun stuff. But I'm going to go, I almost said Punishment Martinez. I'm going to go Damian Priest. I think he needs something. No, I'm not. No, because I've got another pick that would double up on those type of champs, so I'm not going to say that. I'm going to go Cameron Grimes. I think
That's
he's
what I'm
just
thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Cameron
think he's
Grimes.
just left field enough to where we can do some fun things. He kind of seems like a riverboat gambler, and to have a belt seems a little bit appropriate for that type of gimmick. So yeah, I'm
think
going
of the
Cameron Grimes.
fun, zany, fucking things he can get, and people trying to challenge him, and he keeps slipping away with a woohoo.
Right, exactly.
Gotcha. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He'd be great for it. Yeah. If it's not him, yeah, maybe a Damian Priest is the only way I'm going. Because you're right, Dream, other reasons. I don't think they're putting it on the thick boy quite yet, right? So.
Although
yeah,
I do like Bronson Reed. I think he's fun. He can be a good champion. But again, I think the North American Championship is dictated on what they do for the heavyweight championship. And this is what I mean by that is, let's say they book WWE, that is, top down. If they say Keith Lee retains, well then Bronson Reed wouldn't become the North American champion, because now we just have two bowling balls.
They're two thick boys. Yeah,
right. We have boys. We have two bowling balls for our champs. But then if you go Karrion Kross, well, then you can't do I keep calling him Punishment Martinez, Damian Priest, because then you have the two, Brood members as your champions, right? And
you also can't go Velveteen Dream either, because then it's mind games, right?
Yeah, then we're doing the same mind game thing. It's like, what kind of wrestling promotion is this, right? So yeah, that's what it's hard to determine. But I think Cameron Grimes is just left field enough to where, yeah, like you said, he slips out the back door so he doesn't have to defend the championship, or he does some type of card trick to fool the guy and then, grabs the belt and runs out. Almost like an old Western timey R-Truth, with the 24/7 championship, except for not as, all the time gimmicky, but something along those lines. That's what I think.
Very much, happen. Yeah. All right, let's get into one of the big ones here. We got Adam Cole, baby, taking on Pat McAfee. And I'm going to give it to Pat McAfee. His promo was fucking great.
God. I've made $1 million in 7 different professions.
Man.
Yeah. He's great on the mic, and I like him a lot. I like him on his podcast. I don't listen to it a lot. I listen to more of the YouTube clips on specific topics. I know some people absolutely hate him. Sure, that's why he came in as a heel, right? He wasn't beloved. I'm going Adam Cole, though. I think for him to beat Daniel Bryan and for him to retain for, the NXT Championship for 400 days and then to lose it, unless
Pat McAfee wins this.
Is this the payoff? Is this the implosion of the Undisputed Era? Do we see Roderick Strong?
I think we may see Cole. Yeah, this may break down, and Cole eventually is making his way out, right? And I think Pat McAfee wins this.
I'm still going to Adam Cole. God, I get it, right? WWE's done stupid shit in the past. Kevin Federline beat John Cena.
No, imagine the ratings pop on ESPN and Sports Illustrated from Pat McAfee winning and bragging and talking shit and going on every fucking talk show and fucking spitting on his podcast. And
yes. Every reason you're saying, I completely 100% agree, but I still think Adam Cole. I think Triple H has still enough say to say, okay, fine, I'm doing the fucking match, but he's not winning.
If Pat McAfee wrote that promo, I want Pat McAfee as a regular wrestler. If somebody wrote that for McAfee, he fucking delivered that better than The Rock delivered his pre-written lines.
Yeah, he's great. He's born to do this. He's done stand-up for years. He quit the NFL to do this kind of stuff. So,
dude, I think was amazing. His whole he was like, everything you did, right? You're this, you're that, you're everything. He's like, and then one kick. He's like, if I knocked you out, I made you look like a fucking bitch.
Yeah.
God, he was so great.
Yeah, he's great. I liked him a lot. But yeah, still gonna stick with Adam Cole. What's the next match we have?
All right, it's the big one, man. It's Karrion Kross, Keith Lee, NXT title, and I feel like you kind of said who you were going with there. You think Karrion Kross is going to get this thing?
Yeah. Did you see the promo package on NXT this Wednesday night?
Yeah.
I mean, that was built around Karrion Kross. There was nothing about that.
Is that to make you think?
No, I think he hasn't had a weakness, and I keep having this feeling that Triple H, even though he begrudgingly has to do certain things, I don't think Pat McAfee was his idea. Get what I'm saying? I think maybe that was a Pat McAfee went to Vince. Vince loved the idea, brother. And then let's do it at NXT because you're not fucking up my shit kind of thing.
And Triple H loves him a dark, rockish white dude.
And guess who the song was for that promo package? It was a fucking new Metallica song, right?
Yeah.
Like everything screams Triple H when I see Karrion Kross. It's the Blade character he tried to play in Blade 3. So for that reason, I like, and I love Keith.
This is who Triple H would be if he like redesigned himself today, like coming.
Yeah. Yeah. To get himself over, this would be, if he never did DX, this would be his character. I just think he hasn't had a weakness. I don't think, I think Triple H understands he's unstoppable. He's unstoppable. He's unstoppable. He lost to the champ. Well, now what? Right? Like that reset of a character just never works. And so I think they're going to pull the trigger.
Keith Lee could almost recover from having won it. Oh my God. And then suddenly losing it. Better than somebody like, oh my God, this guy's unstoppable until he was stopped. Well, then that guy can't really recover from that.
Right.
Because all we ever got to do is call Keith Lee to come stop you. Yeah.
And I think, you know, and I'm fantasy booking here, on NXT, the main event was a heel Velveteen Dream versus a somewhat babyface Finn Balor. And let's just, fantasy book the next big event. Let's say it's Survivor Series, the NXT event that goes along with Survivor Series. I can see Karrion Kross as the black cloud over NXT, and the only person that can dethrone him is a demon. And you have the demon Finn Balor come out, and that's when the fans are back in, hopefully. And then that would just, you know what I'm saying, hopefully. But right, a demon Finn Balor.
That's right when America's going to erupt in a civil war. You think that's going to...
Yeah, well, I totally forgot about the timeline of that. Yeah, we're. Well, there you go.
Not actually exist anymore.
Yeah, we might not get to Survivor Series, but if we do, I could see the demon emerging to take out Karrion Kross and what's her name? I always forget her name.
Scarlett.
It's just Scarlett. I think let's just go with Scarlett. That's fine. I think Scarlett playing mind games with Finn Balor, and Finn Balor to counteract that mind game with the demon. That's the perfect story.
Scarlett Bordeaux.
I'm not saying. I'm saying Scarlett. Fuck that name. Lose it like Rusev's first name. So I think that's why Karrion Kross gets it over Keith Lee. Keith Lee can then beat up on some Biggie Boy. Or not Biggie Boy, the Thick Boy, and he can have his fun and then maybe go to the main roster, right? We love to throw those people to the main roster as soon as possible, and he seems like a SmackDown guy. So yeah, for that reason, I think Karrion Kross.
Yeah. You might
I think there's another match.
Just to be different, I'll go with Keith Lee, but
I think there's another match too. It was just announced: Finn Balor and Timothy Thatcher.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Thatcher wins that.
Yeah, I think so. What happened to, I know I just fantasy booked Finn Balor in the main event title and gets the title back, but he comes down to NXT, he does the cool heel turn, and then does he just get lost in the shuffle on everything? He just lost a Velveteen Dream clean. I mean, I know there was distractions and things like that, but what? You know what I'm saying? Come on. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's interesting. But, I mean, I think that's why he's down there.
Maybe he's doing the whole get the young guys over because people know who I am thing. But, man, that's a waste of a good character. You could do some real fun things with that still.
Could, but they didn't, and they won't because he's too small.
No, I'm going Finn. Fuck that. I'm going Finn. Yeah.
No, Thatch Kane. He's gonna stretch him.
Oh, I hope so. I love Timothy Thatcher. I want him to be neutral. I don't want him to be a babyface or heel. I just want him to kick everyone's ass. And everyone's like, hey man, what's your problem? It's fucking being here, man. I want him to be the I want him to be the violent Orange Cassidy. You know what I'm saying? Like where Orange Cassidy kind of comes off as a babyface, but it's because he's non-threatening. I want Timothy Thatcher to have the same attributes, but fucking murder people. Like,
Yeah, just kind of like slowly be like, God damn it. All right, another match. The bell rings. He's kind of like, The guy's like fucking jumping around like he's Ali, and then Thatcher's just like, Jesus fucking Christ. And then the guy gets close and he just fucking rips his arm off.
Yeah. And he's like, who is doing this? Why am I here? Why would I be in a match?
With this jump?
Yeah. Why would I be wrestling this guy? Who's the idiot who booked this? Like, and then he gets mad and like walks around backstage. Who did that to me? Who put me in that situation? You guys knew it was going to happen. And then like you have the wrestler, let's go with Ali, right? And he's in the training room still like screaming in agony. He's like, no one likes hearing that. No one likes hearing that. And why did you make me do it? You idiots. Just walks around. Like, that's what I want Timothy Thatcher to be. I think that'd be a fun character.
That would be fun. All right, so NXT, man. Porn.
NXT porn. Can't wait.
All right. Well, then let's move into is SummerSlam if WrestleMania is the granddaddy of them all, what is SummerSlam? Oh, it's the biggest party of the summer, right?
But the tagline this year is "You never saw it coming."
Whatever. I probably just won't see it.
Yeah, how about that? I won't see it then.
I won't fucking see it. I'll just catch the fucking highlights. Let's run to the card, shall we, Tom?
Let's do it.
Any broad thoughts before we do this?
Yeah, this is a very important event, I think, for Drew McIntyre. You know, he got the push when no fans were there, so it's kind of difficult for him to know really where he stands. I think he's done a really great job as champion. He's believable. He's likable. I know I've said the whole, I can't feel sympathy for Roman Reigns because he'll steal my girlfriend kind of thing. And I still feel that way about Drew McIntyre to a certain extent, but he's not doing the overly sympathy. Oh man, it's a 3-on-1 attack.
Well, what helps him is he's also not the smoothest, most charismatic guy from a personality standpoint.
Yeah, he's a cat guy. Yeah, he's a cat guy. Like, he takes pictures with his cat, and he kind of seems like a little bit of a dork.
So I think more people will identify with the guy for that reason, right? Like, he is that, like, even though he's big and a monster can beat people up, he's kind of like the Clark Kent Superman kind of thing, right? Mm-hmm. Where mild-mannered, unassuming, injustice is happening. Now I'm here to beat you up, right? And he fits that well. I will give him that. Like, he's adapting to that pretty well.
Yeah, but I think this is a very important event for him as far as how WWE views him, because like I said, there's no fans, so we don't really get the real reaction when he runs down to save Ric Flair from Randy Orton. You know what I mean? So we're going to see
what... Maybe we do. Maybe if we had fans, we'd have the same reaction.
Who knows, right? I don't know. Right. You know, Rusev Day came about because fans were just getting behind someone, and maybe they would do that with Drew. I don't know. But I think this is going to be a very telling sign of how either you want to say WWE or Vince views Drew McIntyre. And so I think, we'll learn a lot about the future of Drew McIntyre, win or lose from SummerSlam.
All right, well, let's start hours ahead of that and start with a hair versus hair match. Now, this will be later in the show, but I'm just reading off of WWE.com, starting from the bottom.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, hair versus hair match. I think there's no way Sonya Deville's not losing this, right? I think this was all set up because I think she was going to go with a different look because she's kind of going with that badass, I'm going to fuck you up routine. Whoa. I think she's going shaved, and I think they set up the whole thing for that.
Yeah,
but maybe I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
No, you're not, because name a baby face who's ever lost a hair match. It's always a heel thing, right? Molly Holly at WrestleMania. Well, I guess the only heel to win a hair versus hair match was Trump, but then other than that, it's always the babyface wins.
And yes. No, Trump wasn't the heel then. He's a heel now. But
he was a heel then. Let's be honest, he was a heel then too.
Well, I mean, he's always been a heel, but like, was he the heel in that storyline?
No. Damn it, I was making a bad joke because I don't like the bastard.
Yeah, I mean, he's a fucking heel in many contexts of the word.
Yeah. But in that, he was the baby. Bobby Lashley was the baby face. Umaga was the heel.
Yeah, you're right.
That's what
no face loses a hair versus hair match.
Right.
Huh.
So it's
faces lose mask versus mask matches. I've seen that.
Right, but never hair. Again, fact check. We don't do that here. So tell me about a 1991 match with fill in the blank wrestler that I don't know of. And I'm happy to learn.
Mean, you know what I mean? Like if you could turn on a cable TV and see this program somewhere, right? Is generally kind of what we mean, right? So I don't want to hear about, ROH did a, iPay-per-view. Like, okay, we'll scratch that. I don't give a shit.
And let me clarify. I'm talking about a legit hair versus hair, like going into the match. Obviously, you have had certain situations where, like, if you remember, Kurt Angle fucking hit Big Show with a tranquilizer and then shaved his head when he was unconscious. But that wasn't hair versus hair.
Have the ceremonious.
Right.
Because they always have to hold the heel down while he's being a baby.
Right. So, again, Sonya Deville loses this because she's the heel. So, of course.
Yep. All right. This is funny.
Well, that's
WWE,
funny.
Well, hold on. WWE, what were we going to say?
Think about what I just said, and we just knew it. Fucking Kurt Angle took a tranquilizer gun to another human and then shaved his head. Pro wrestling is stupid.
So
I love wrestling.
I'm reading this match card off of WWE.com, right? Their shows page and the SummerSlam, and they have their like preview, right? And they list all the matches, and they start with the championship match and the next, right? And you go all the way down to what you assume they consider the lesser matches, right? And I'm reading from the bottom up. There's 3 women's matches, and they're all at the bottom, and then the next 5 matches are all the men's. So I'm going to read it this way. It's not because I'm picking the women's out. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
I'm reading straight off WWE.com, so don't come at me, bro. Send all your hate mail to @TMac_816. Bayley versus Asuka for a SmackDown Women's Championship match. Now, if you'll remember, Asuka's also going to challenge for the Raw Women's Championship against Sasha Banks. So maybe we talk about both of those at the same time?
Yeah, let's do that. I got her going 1-1. I think she loses the first one. And so Bayley said she's going first, right? So, yeah, she'll lose to Bayley, and then she will beat Asuka. Because remember, she's also a Raw superstar. So the Raw championship has to go back to her.
I think you're right, because if you'll notice, they've kind of thrown in a few jabs to where there's, in this Mega Powers 2.0, there's a little bit of rocky waters again, right? Like, they're making matches for each other. They're talking over each other. They're like, oh, of course, right? Like, the egos are starting to butt heads.
Yeah. So I got her going 1-1. I think it would be cool if they did something to this effect where Bayley needs the assistance of Sasha, so Sasha does it. Bayley gets the roll up or, the foot on the rope, something, whatever that is, right? And then in the next match, Sasha needs Bayley's help, and Bayley goes like, nah, I'm good. And then Asuka gets the finisher.
Yeah, she's just encouraging. She's like, you got it. You can do it.
She's like, no, give me the... Yeah, she's like, no, give me the brass knuckles. And Bayley's like, no, I really think you can win. And then she gets rolled up 1, 2, 3. And Bayley's like, why? I thought you could win. She's like, you bitch, I helped you in the first match, and that's how
with the same
starts.
Thing. Like, it's got to be brass knucks. So it's got to be
something.
A sock with a fucking rock in it. Or something.
Right, that would be cool.
They came out with a fucking like prison sock.
Well, that's a Santana and Ortiz move over in AEW. Right. Yeah, they hit you with a sock with rocks in them. So maybe, I don't know, it'd be cool. But yeah, so I think that's where it happens is Bayley wins and then Sasha loses.
All right. Apollo Crews, MVP. I think MVP might win this one. United States title match.
I think it wouldn't shock me. Right. MVP having the championship to make the Hurt Business something more than just 3 guys walking around, However, I think maybe we're going to do this Mortal Kombat style, and we start Apollo Crews with MVP. Then he goes through Shelton Benjamin, and then the grand, finale or the big boss is Bobby Lashley.
Actually, scratch that. MVP wins this because Cedric Alexander turns and helps him win it.
That's a thought. That is a good thought. They've teased the Cedric Alexander joins the Hurt Business because he feels distracted or disrespected from his friends Richard O'Shea, Ali, and Apollo Crews. So yeah, I mean, I could see it, but I still think we're going to do it Mortal Kombat style. Because remember, we got to do picks next week because next week after this coming weekend is Payback. So we gotta get some matches in there.
Yeah, God, that's so weird. I don't understand why they're doing that, but whatever. Okay, Street Profits are gonna beat Andrade and Angel Garza, right?
I kind of hope not. I kind of
hope not too, but they're gonna.
I think it was too convenient that all of a sudden we just knew that Zelina poisoned Montez, right? And so I think there's going to be more to the story. I think maybe that wasn't poison that she put in Montez Ford's drink, or Retribution, I think, makes their presence known here by saying like, that isn't what happened. It was actually, Angelo Dawkins who did it to Montez. And then we're like, what the fuck? And then Zelina Vega gets her champs. Now she has some gold around her waist. Well, around their waist, but she has some gold with her stable, and then we can build them up a little bit.
I am really liking Angel Garza. He is the highlight of these segments for me. The way he flirts with the ladies, just his general, dislikableness, if I can make up a word. This guy's got some potential in him.
Who's that girl, by the way? Who's this blonde lady?
Oh,
why is she featured? Because see, this is why I think they're going to win. Here
was that the Bachelorette lady? Is that what you're talking about?
I guess whoever he flirts with, and then Charlie Caruso gets a little jealous.
Yeah.
That blonde lady. Okay, they're gonna win. Street Profits are losing. You know why, right? Here it is. I've already written it. This is WWE to a fucking T. God damn it. I hate when I'm right. Here it is. So we don't find out about the who poisoned Montez 100%. We find out that wasn't actually what poisoned Montez. So more to come on that later, right? During the match, through shenanigans, Zelina Vega's team wins. I don't know what we're calling them, but they win the tag team championships, right? So for Payback, the Viking Raiders come and say, we're going to, defeat you on behalf of our good friends, the Street Profits. And then that builds up that flirting thing that Ivan and Ivar and what's his ass.
Dude, if we turned Ivar into the next sexual chocolate, I'm all right with that too.
Right, and how he does the Thor thing with the chicken wing. I love that, how he just holds his hand out in the chicken wing. I like that. But see, so there's already some tension between Garza and Ivar, right? So we have that with the blonde lady. So then the Viking Raiders go we're going to fight on behalf of the Street Profits. We won our title shot against them. And then right before the match starts, that's where Retribution comes in. It was who actually poisoned Montez? It was the Viking Raiders. And then we get the heel turn. Zelina's Vega team retains. Then we get a re-up of the Street Profits, Viking Raiders. But this time it's not silliness. It's all fucking real emotions, and we'll punch each other in the face. That's what happens.
Maybe they go do what we haven't had?
Triple
threat.
A
tag team best of 7.
Or we do a triple threat, right? We do Zelina's Vegas team as the champs. Now we got a blood feud between Street Profits and Viking Raiders. They all three need to wrestle for the team. You can have as many spots as you want there. That's what happens. God damn it.
I think if we got a best of 7 with Raiders, like you said, as heels doing their full heel gimmick, and the Street Profits is that we're getting you back. They do a best 7 of that, I think that could go over really well. We haven't seen that yet in tag teams, right?
Right. Yeah, no, it'd be great.
Yeah, I think that would go over real well, and then it would buy a lot of time, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, and then it would
those guys can go, all 4 of those guys, so they can put on some real good stuff. Like you're saying, if it's serious, which we haven't seen.
I'm saying. Yeah, if we get Viking Raiders out of a fucking minivan and back into some war headgear and we're going to kick someone's ass because we need our chicken wings and we're hangry. Like, that's a good team.
Do some of this in the underground. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's where whoever poisoned Montez Ford, right? Whoever that was, that's how it needs to be settled. Montez goes, no, we're not doing a match here. No.
I'll see you in the underground.
I will see you at the top of the hour. We're going to the underground. And then Shane's like, this is what it's here for. And then boom. Because if you noticed in the underground, Nia Jax wasn't told not to compete, even though she's suspended. She was told, like, get up there, fight Shayna. So that's where I think that needs to be solved.
All right, well, here we go. Street fight. Dominic Mysterio, Seth Rollins. God, I feel like it's WWE easy booking at some point to get Dominic Mysterio this win. It makes him look good because they're going to, he's got a new contract. Rollins can recover from this, right? Because, if they're not planning on doing anything major with him, then what's the point of another win over this kid who it's just going to kind of not do well for him? So I feel like Mysterio wins this.
Yeah, I think Dominic would win it as well. I think the slow burn of Murphy not wanting to do all of these underhanded tactics maybe wears on him, and through the Seth Rollins begs him to do X to Dominic, he goes like,
"Give me the brass knucks."
Right, but he's like, you know what? I'm not doing it this time. And then that's where we get a pushing match.
He tells him to cut his balls off, and he's like, "Nah,
something.
Not doing it."
You know what could happen? Oh, you know what could happen? God dang, this could happen. This would be cool, but they're not going to do it because they're fucking lame. Okay, so go down this rabbit hole with me, right? So, yeah, Seth Rollins has his foot on Dominic's throat, something to that effect, right? And he says, like, Murphy, go get me the kendo stick. We're going to, take his eye out or do something, right? And Murphy's like, nah, man, like, this is it. I'm not following you anymore. Like, we're done here. And then just out of the blue, spinning back kick, Aleister Black takes out Murphy. Aleister Black joins Seth Rollins. They get the victory. Now we got a new faction with Aleister Black and Seth Rollins as it's like evil fucking faction.
We've talked about if Dominic Mysterio doesn't join this group, they're doing it wrong. What if Rey Mysterio turned on Dominic Mysterio?
And then we get him. Well, yes. Now that would be fucking cool. I got to backtrack. Got to backtrack. No. You know who fucking wins this? We got to backtrack.
It's Dominic.
No. It's Seth Rollins. There's my real answer. I'm thinking this through. This is in real time, ladies and gentlemen. Going Seth Rollins. You know why? Because now we're going to get the fucking thing that's probably in Rey Mysterio's contract. He wants a tag match with his son. So the only way we can do that is do Rey Mysterio and Dominic at Payback versus Murphy and Seth Rollins.
God
there
damn it,
you go.
You scooped me.
Yeah, there it is. That's what it is.
All right, I'm going to stick with my original answer, but you got it. If we had points on this.
Yep.
All right, we got 2 matches left here. Let's pick the Universal Championship match. The Monster Braun Strowman versus the Fiend Bray Wyatt. Now, are we going to get a Strowman, I didn't really attack Alexa, and I didn't really hate, I was just using it against the Fiend, and he wins this and all is well because I just did it all to beat the Fiend at his own game. This is kind of how I feel how this goes, unfortunately.
Yeah, right? Like that's the vibe I got. Now, on paper, that's a fun story to tell, right? If I tell you, hey, Braun has to shun Alexa Bliss for her own good because he needs to tell the Fiend that she means nothing so that he doesn't go after her, right? Like that on paper is good. They have not executed
to attack her to save her from an attack.
Right. He had he had to show that she meant nothing so that the Fiend wouldn't show up at her house or whatever it is, right? But they just haven't told that good enough story. There's still that little spot that they had where Alexa Bliss caresses the Fiend's face and Fiend kind of got an NXT porn going on, but he had to walk away from it.
So maybe the Fiend wins and she's
right. So there's a possibility.
That Harley Quinn that she's always kind of,
Now that would be fun. Like if we're having fun and we're trying to get ratings and we're writing wrestling for wrestling fans, that's what we do. But we're going to do what you said because it's WWE.
If we were writing wrestling for wrestling fans. Oh, yeah. Imagine that.
Right? That would be fucking what we would be doing. But we're not. We're going to do the, hey, I had to save. He's going to win.
I had to save.
Yeah, and then he's going to tell Alexa Bliss, like, I had to do that. So
And then we get a wedding.
Right, or something, yeah. Team Little Big, then they do some tag matches against Otis and oh fuck, I just booked it.
Shit. God damn it.
We just got it there.
Oh,
we
yeah,
just
did.
got there.
Hey, we've been watching this company long enough.
Motherfuck. Yep, we just got there. So this is what happens. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you weren't following along closely, if you're driving and you're kind of in and out, let's recap real quick. This is what happens because it's WWE and fuck. Braun Strowman gets the win over The Fiend. Post-match, goes to Alexa Bliss.
Professes his love, tells him he just had to do it.
Well, he says something to the effect of like, aren't you happy that I'm champ? And she's like, no, you're become a monster. And then he says, I had to do that to protect you. Team Little Big for life. And he puts
she's kind of scared. Yeah, but he's trying to reassure her.
Right. And then he says something stupid like Team Little Big for life and high five or fist bump or whatever the fuck it is. And then she like begrudgingly goes, yeah. And so then they hug or whatever. And now we know that Team Little Big is back in business. And then because of that, Otis says, oh, the champ thinks he's got his team. Well, you know, I got my peach over here. And Mandy Rose, who just got victorious or was victorious against Sonya Deville's riding high.
No, here's what
happens.
happens.
And so she's like, hey, me and
everything
you
said, except as he's making his thing to Alexa Bliss, right? When he's like pleading with her and she's not quite sure before the fist bump, like you said, before the like begrudging, Otis comes out and cashes in and wins. And now, right? Like
that would be fun.
The tag team thing comes from like, oh no, we've got to go get them back, right?
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah, because so he comes in to cash out, and then Mandy Rose, right? Is that who?
Yeah, Mandy Rose.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she comes and takes out Alexa Bliss, so she can't interfere, right? And then Alexa Bliss is like, look, I've got beef with them too. Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be perfect. God, but that's too much fun, Tim. We gotta
because then is Otis heel? Yeah, like I don't know.
Well, but no, he's not like a heel, but he's
because then you could have the monster and Bliss in her thing, like what we were just talking about with the Fiend. It could just be with there's possibilities if we were writing wrestling.
Yeah, and you don't have
fans.
Yeah, and you don't have to make him heel. You could just say, look, it was an opportunity, and everyone would understand, right? It would be painted that way. But yeah, he gets the roll up. Alexa Bliss goes to stop, like hitting him or something. And then that's when Mandy Rose either spears her or like grabs her. And she's like kicking and screaming and 1, 2, 3. And then Otis becomes champ. Otis and Mandy run off. Anyhow, we're still going to get those two fucking teams in a match. That's what we're going to next. And then Bray Wyatt will go after returning Legend X, who's a returning Booker T. That's who he'll go after next. Is Booker T.
I'll tell you what happens next. Is after the WWE Championship match and Drew McIntyre puts down Randy Orton, the Fiend will take on Randy Orton.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah.
But that's
Although
Raw
I don't
SmackDown.
know, because then, I don't want either one of them to lose in that scenario.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, you generally don't have two guys who lost major matches then go on to both face each other because one of them has to lose again. So maybe not. But I still think Drew McIntyre wins this.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. I think...
Because I think they just want him to be the next Roman Reigns. I think they think, look, Roman Reigns, people aren't behind him. He's now had to. And I'm sure they're like, look, of course he's got to bow out a couple times, but how many times, if he can't ever come back, and what if something else happens? He's going to bow out again? Like, I think they're ready to move on to a new flag bearer if they can. And I think they really like Drew McIntyre. He's big. He's a fucking handsome man, right? Like he's got a foreign accent that, the ladies love. Like, I think they like Drew McIntyre. I think they want to put him on every poster. So I think he's winning.
Well, then he would have to lose this. He would have to lose this because how do we tell the story of every babyface that's the face of the company? He overcame odds. So he has to lose via shenanigans, right? A punt to the, some type of thing that happens. And then he gets his payback the next week.
That's right, because we have payback next week. I keep forgetting that. All these are going to be open-ended, aren't they?
Yeah.
God damn it.
And so then, something happens there. Randy Orton might get the title there.
It's specifically called payback, too.
Fuck. Right. Yeah. And so I think Randy Orton gets the title after these two events. Now it could be, I'll say Randy Orton. I'll say Randy Orton gets DQ'd. That's what I'll say. Randy Orton gets DQ'd so that we do the match again, right? He punts him or he low blows him, then he punts him. Now Drew McIntyre wants his payback. And then we do the match there. That's when Randy Orton wins the title. And then we get Drew McIntyre has to overcome the odds, and Randy Orton does the, legend killer. Maybe he grabs Zelina Vega's group, right? They kind of hinted at that for a couple weeks. And then Drew McIntyre has to go through all these fucking heels to finally get Randy Orton. And Randy Orton always loses to every fucking person, so why wouldn't he lose again,
Yeah, maybe. I still think Drew McIntyre. I think SummerSlam ends, McIntyre in front of the Thunderdome.
So you think that's going to be the main event? I think it's going to be Fiend and Bray Wyatt or Braun Strowman.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe. True that. A cinematic match, maybe.
Yeah, and that's where I got Randy Orton.
Pseudo-cinematic. I think they'll still have it like in the ring, kind of like how they did, who did they do that with, that NXT match, right?
Yeah,
Where
well,
it was a cinematic match, but it was still like an in-ring match the whole time.
Velveteen Dream and Adam Cole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or it was Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. The last
maybe they'll put like a projector image of Bugs on the ring again. Remember that?
Oh, that was awesome. God, I love that. It was one of the best WrestleMania moments of all time. My official pick is Randy Orton loses via DQ. There you go.
Great.
Hey, but we also have AEW this coming weekend. That's going to be on a Saturday night. We got the finals of the Women's Tag Team Championship. We got the first ever in-ring interview from Orange Cassidy. We've got, what else? Man, we got a stat card, don't we? I feel like we do.
Yeah.
Let's check it out. Let's check it out for a quick
It's Dynamite.
second. It is Dynamite. Here, buy me some time, Tim, as the young kids say. I'm trying to look up the card with no internet access.
It is interesting how the bubble ball is thrown a couple of these out of whack, right? Like they're going to be not always the same different time, if I can use that term.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to, that's not a plus for AEW. Like if they're trying to catch new fans, consistency is always a good plus. But again, I mean, the regular fans are going to tune in. So,
we've got Mr. Brody Lee taking on Cody for the TNT Championship. That's going to be a big match too.
Yeah, I think Brody Lee wins it.
I think it's time. I think the wear and tear of a every week challenge.
Yeah, I just think it would help Brody Lee's storyline too. So I think so.
Yeah, and I also think that bubbling potential new 4 horsemen needs a 4th member, and I think that's Cody. And so we might see a new direction for him. And if he goes in a new direction, I don't think he keeps that TNT championship. So, Brody Lee, I would think wins this as well. But yeah, so big fun weekend of pro wrestling, 3 events. Which one of the 3 are you looking forward to the most?
Probably SummerSlam. There's more matches that I'm intrigued by how they go, I think. I'm most intrigued to see the Pat McAfee Adam Cole match.
That's your match. Okay.
Just because I'm most intrigued to see how they play it, right? I don't think it'll be the best match that I'm looking forward to. That's probably the ladder match.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I'm interested to see how they go with that.
I think what I'm looking forward to the most, and call me whatever you want, is AEW Dynamite. And I know it's not SummerSlam or NXT porn, but it's Dynamite, and Dynamite's consistently been good, if not great. So I'm looking forward to that. The 2 hours just flies by every week. I still get astonished that I'm like, that was 2 hours, and I loved every second of it, and I'm mad that it's over. Like, that's crazy to me. Now, there's been some hiccups, obviously, but generally speaking, they've been hitting home runs. But the match I'm looking forward to the most, because I just don't know where they're going to go, even though it is WWE and we did book it and already told us what the fucking story is, which makes me mad, but is Braun Strowman and the Fiend Bray Wyatt. I think there's some possibilities there that they could do that would shock us, because it is SummerSlam, right? They usually do the big things at WrestleMania or SummerSlam, so I could be completely wrong.
Right. And well, they introduced this new Thunderdome, so they may have new eyes on, so they may be trying to be like, oh, shock.
Right. Yeah. So we shall see.
Undertaker loses. All right.
Yeah, Undertaker lost on the network. That's crazy. Don't you need the network?
Yeah. All right, man. Yeah, what a fun week of wrestling, and what a fun weekend coming up of wrestling.
Indeed.
The Spanish announce table.